Shohei Ohtani quite possibly needing a second Tommy John surgery is something that nobody wanted to hear. Shohei Ohtani is baseball's biggest star right now. And with the WBC this year, his fame and his lore has only grown. I mean, especially with the game speeding up, people have casual fans, people who are new to the sport of baseball, more reluctant to watch games because now the game is closer to 2 hours than four. In past times, it was 3.5 hour games, and someone who isn't really a fan of baseball may not want to sit for that. But with baseball's fame growing and baseball's biggest star falling to this kind of injury, no one knows the impact it will have because, I mean, now he's getting a second opinion. It can be a big hit for the sport of baseball because, as we've seen, Bryce Harper, who needed the surgery, isn't a pitcher. He was able to come back, right, and hit and provide for the Phillies. But he also isn't rehabbing to be a full-time pitcher at the same time. And it's a different kind of rehab. It's a more extensive rehab process. But who knows? I mean, with the second opinion, maybe he may not need the surgery. I mean, Masahiro Tanaka had a partially torn UCL and never needed surgery. But then to counter that, Masahiro Tanaka also couldn't reach up to 102 miles an hour in game in like the fifth inning. So who knows? I mean, the like Shohei Ohtani is a ferocious athlete. Like there's no other way to explain how he's been able to do what he has done for for as long as he has done it. I mean, Shohei Ohtani has probably been the best baseball player in every single team he's ever played on. Now he's the best baseball player in the best league in the world. And a game that is growing, finally, a game that in his ratings, the MLB hasn't seen these ratings in forever. And I will argue Shohei Ohtani is the greatest athlete in all of sports, and now baseball might have lost him for a year, maybe 2 seasons, if worse comes to worse. But now the question begs, how much is he going to make? I mean, maybe he may not need the second surgery, but there runs a risk that every single time he throws a baseball, it can be a full tear, which can, after this first rehab, after taking some time and being a little careful with him, can cost him another year and a half, maybe 2 years of his career. And if he projects to be the highest paid baseball player we have ever seen. Is that what a team is willing to risk? Yeah, they have him as a DH for 1 year, strictly DH. I mean, regardless, his value is top of the league as strictly a DH. But now we don't have him pitching for upwards of maybe half a year, and then if he gets injured, 2 more years. Like it's some big questions that teams have to answer themselves, and it's it's something I don't wish on Shohei Ohtani because what he has done for the sport of baseball, not only in this nation but globally, he deserves to blow the record for highest paid contract in the MLB or in any league out of the water. Because like I said before, he's the best athlete in all the sports, and you can argue that with me, and I'll be glad to argue it with you because Shohei Ohtani, I mean, he is what, first in the MLB in home runs. And I'm someone who likes to talk a little more deeper in the stats, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give a general stat. He is top 10 in ERA. He is the 11th in strikeouts this season. He is a power pitcher and a power bat, and that is what the MLB is trending towards: a lot of strikeouts, home runs, and he is the best of both worlds. I messed that word up incredibly, but it's fine. This affects baseball a lot. And thank God for the likes of, the Ellie De La Cruzes, the Atlanta Braves, who are Ronald Acuna individually, but also the Atlanta Braves, who are one of the most electric teams. And it seems as though they score 9 to 10 runs a game. Of course, an exaggeration, but especially in the year when the Yankees aren't as good and they have been one of the baseball's biggest draws for who knows how long. I mean, we have a lot of young guys coming up now who are exciting. Speed, power. That's what baseball is now. You don't see too much of the average guys getting the fame and the lore that these guys get. But the fact of the matter is, Shohei Ohtani is not only fast, not only can he hit home runs, but he can throw 102 miles an hour. And yes, that is just a general statement without going deep about who Shohei Ohtani is. But a guy who people wanted to see because every single time he steps on the field, he quite possibly breaks records that he is the only one, like bar none. He didn't pass this guy, didn't pass this guy. He becomes the first. That is the kind of record, the kind of player that Shohei Ohtani has seen. And we don't see that in any other sport to this day. Guys doing something for the first time all over the world. Guys in football, you have guys who break records of former players. In basketball, you have LeBron who maybe just broke the highest scoring points ever. But what Shohei Ohtani is, he is setting the record. What he has done for baseball in his time since he's been is set the record, not break any records. He has set the record. He, like I said before, bar none, he is the only person that has been able to do what he has done in the highest baseball league in the world. The only person. And now baseball might be without him for 2 years. And I mean, like I said, he's not going to be poor in any stance, but there are a lot of executives that are talking about this could cut his contract almost in half because of the fear that he might just project to be a long-term DH. And it's been a question that has been begged since Shohei Ohtani has entered the league. Can he withstand the pressure of not the pressure mentally, but the pressure bodily, physically of pitching full time and being a full time bat? Because there's guys that can't even do one or the other. And every single time he steps on the field, he does both. He not only has to take care of himself bodily, but he has to take care of his arm. He has to take care of all the bodily things that involve hitting, his hips and this, that. I mean, Lord knows the pressure that are on his hip joints every single time. It is like being able to explode with the hips, being able to use that and use your lower half is baseball's biggest function. And I don't even know if I'm wording that right. But as a hitter, the main thing you want to focus on with your approach is your hips and exploding them through the baseball every single time. And as a pitcher, in order to deliver the ball, you have to explode your hips and allow your body to whip forward with the rest. And I know I'm speaking a little too fast to be able to understand, and I'm trying to condense it a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, he has put so much pressure and torque on his body each and every single day, and teams don't know if he can be able to withstand that. I feel for Shohei because he has been the best thing baseball has seen ever. Some may say he's a pioneer, some may say Babe Ruth was. But the fact of the matter is, no one has been able to do this at the same time, at the top of the league, ever. Ever. So yes, this is devastating news that Shohei Ohtani might not pitch for a while. So prayers up to Shohei Ohtani, man. I hope for a speedy recovery. Being boy B-Riv, God bless. See ya.